Hi. So tonight is another one of those nights where I'm not really going to have time to cook dinner at dinner time. So I decided that I'm going to make a lazy shepherd's pie. And it's super easy, minimal ingredients. All we need is some mashed potatoes. You can use boxed, store bought that's prepared, homemade, whatever you want. I'm actually boiling some potatoes right now. I'm going to make some mashed potatoes. They're pretty easy to make. Just boil the potatoes, add some salt, butter, pepper, a little bit of milk, mix it up. Good to go. So there's mashed potatoes, a pound of ground meat, some tomato soup, a bag of frozen mixed veggies, and a packet of like beef stew seasoning. And I think oh, and some cheddar cheese, shredded cheddar. And that's all you need. So I'm going to be boiling the mashed potatoes, making that now, and then doing the ground meat veggie mixture later, so that all Mike has to do is pop it in the oven while Gianna and I are out at a cheer clinic because she decided that she would like to try cheerleading. So I'm going to get that going. Also, fun fact, so we celebrated my 40th birthday this past weekend, and one of the gifts that I got from my best friend was this. It's like a meat chopper. So I guess she had seen one of my videos a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, where I was chopping up meat and I was like, oh yeah, the spoon works just as good as this fancy thing. So she went ahead and ordered one for me, and I am like so excited to use it. So we're going to use it tonight. When I do the meat mixture, I will bring you back to the stove. All right, so I am going to be preparing this ground meat mixture for this shepherd's pie, and I'm actually going to keep everything in the same pot. Um, if you want, you can always transfer the meat and your potatoes and everything into like a 9 by 13 baking dish or any other casserole dish, but since I don't really like to do a ton of dishes, I'm just going to leave it in here. It'll be fine. So I've heated up the oil, and I'm going to add my ground pork to that. Let's get this guy in here. Oops. Knife seems a little dull. And you can use whatever kind of ground meat you have. Sometimes I'll use ground turkey. I don't think I've ever used ground chicken, but I usually use ground pork. Let's get this in here. Pan is nice and hot. Toss this guy. All right, and I'm going to use my meat chopper. Okay. I mean, she was not wrong. It's so nice. I feel like this gets the job done so much easier than the spoon. Oh, I take back what I said in my previous video. This is so much easier. Does not do the same job. Okay, so I've got this ground meat in here, and I like to season my meat as it's cooking. I feel like the flavors just kind of get infused and soak up better when you're doing it this way. So I have a packet of the beef stew spice blend, and this has cornstarch, salt, onion, sugar, paprika, black pepper, thyme, and tomato in it. So I guess if you want to make your own blend and you don't want to buy the package, that's what you can put in it. So I'm going to dump the entire packet in here. So 1.5 ounces. And let's just keep on going with this thing. Oh, this is so cool. mean, this took, what, like seconds to chop up all this meat. Whereas with the spoon, I'd kind of be going in, breaking it up. It's funny, when I saw this in the bag that my friend Cherie had her gift in, I ran over to my husband and I was just like, oh my gosh, look what I got. And he was so confused. He's like, what is that thing? And why were you so excited about it? I'm like, you know what? The older you get, the more excited you get about little things in life, useful things, right? Okay. So I think that that's chopped up enough. Although I do want to keep chopping with this thing because it's kind of fun. So I'm going to let that cook. And then I guess I'll be done using that. I mean, it's one more thing that I have to wash, but it's so worth it. So excited about this. Okay, now all I need to do is stir the meat. Okay. So we're gonna let this cook up a little bit. Let me toss this in the sink. And I already have my mashed potatoes done. I made them earlier, so they look like this. And all I did was I boiled some potatoes in some salt water. And then once they were kind of like fork tender, I went ahead, drained out some of the liquid, mashed them up with some butter and some pepper. I actually didn't even need to add any more salt to it. And then that was fine. It's ready to go. And that's what we're going to put on top of this mixture that we're making here. And I was actually going to make this in my Dutch oven. So for my birthday, another one of my friends bought me this absolutely gorgeous Dutch oven. I gotta show you. I didn't wash it or anything yet, so I'm not gonna use it. And obviously it's heavy. So I figured we'll just make dinner, you know, in this pan, but I will have to make my friend a meal in this Dutch oven because it is beautiful. So it's like this beautiful light green color. I cannot wait to make stuff in it. Let me tell you, all of my friends are so thoughtful, and that is one of the things that I really appreciate about them. Like, they know that I like cooking, so it's like, you know, these gifts, they were just so sweet. I mean, all my friends are really thoughtful, and that is one of the qualities that I really, really appreciate in my friend group. All my friends are super thoughtful and so sweet and so nice. But I'm gonna have to think of a dish that I would like to make for my friend and her family in that Dutch oven, because I mean, you know, why not? You know, they bought me a gift. I want to just show them how much I appreciate it by making them a meal in that beautiful, beautiful Dutch oven. So, all right, so this is browning up pretty nicely. Nice and chopped up. See? Very nice and chopped up. I'm going to let it cook down a little bit more before I start adding in the next ingredient. This is pretty much cooked up. So to this, I am going to add a bag of mixed vegetables, and this is a 12-ounce bag that I've got here. These are the frozen mixed veggies, and you can add pretty much whatever you like. This is just super easy. And I actually have some extra corn because I had made something actually, was it last weekend? Yeah, last week, that I needed corn for, but I don't know. I think that this looks like it might be enough in here. Gianna loves corn, so maybe she'll just eat that on its own. All right, so you want to add in your mixed vegetables, and then about probably like 12-ish ounces of tomato soup. You can use the canned soup. I mean, if you have some tomato soup on hand that you've made, you can use that. I use this one. This is the Pacific Foods Organic Roasted Red Pepper and Tomato Soup. So I think that might have been on sale at the grocery store, so that's why I bought it. I also have some tomato sauce left over from a recipe I was making last week. So I'm just going to dump this in there too. I mean, you don't have to be super exact with anything. So we're just going to add some of that in there. Add some of this tomato soup. Paper towel here. Oops. Okay. So you're gonna start getting this really nice, like soupy kind of consistency. You don't want to add too much though. I think the recipe that I found online also says to add some water. I think that's more for like when you're adding the beef stew seasoning, but you know what? I don't add the water. I actually just add more tomato soup. I feel like, you know, it gives it flavor. Any way you can add flavor to a meal, I am all for it. Okay, give this. It smells really good. And it's actually looking, the mixture is looking a little thick, so I might actually add a little bit more tomato soup. Oop, making a mess here. Okay. Perfect. Basically just gonna wanna let this simmer for a little bit, just so that all the flavors can kind of combine and mix up together. Sometimes if I have some leftover like onions or something, I'll throw that in there when I'm doing the meat, or like garlic or whatever. You can always put some like fresh onion and garlic in there if you want to. And if you have like, I don't know, if you have some like extra diced up tomatoes laying around, you can always add that in there. Anything you want. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let this simmer for a little bit. And once it's done simmering, I'm going to go ahead and put the potatoes on top of it and then sprinkle it with some cheddar cheese, cover it up, and then I will leave it for Mike to put in the oven when they're ready to eat dinner. All he's going to do is pop it in the oven at 400 degrees for about 30-ish minutes until like the cheese starts getting all like nice and bubbly and it'll start to like brown up a little bit. And that's when you know it's done. So I'm going to go ahead and let this simmer, and then I'll come back and put the potatoes on top of it. This has been simmering for a little bit. I just turned the heat off so it's very hot, but I'm going to go ahead and top this with the mashed potatoes. And the mashed potatoes I make are a bit thick, so I'm going to use my hands to kind of flatten it out and put it on this mixture. So I just take my mashed potatoes, like a big scoop of it, flatten them out just a little, and just kind of plop it right on top of the meat mixture. And the potatoes that I made, since I made them a little earlier, they did get a little, stiff, so I had saved some of the potato water and I just mixed that into it. But you just want to kind of make a nice little layer of potatoes on top of your meat mixture. This is also a really good meal to make in the winter time when you want something kind of like comforting and cozy. Usually during the winter, around Christmas time, I do like an advent calendar for the kids, but we do activities instead of chocolates and candies every day. And one of the activities that we do is we go to visit Santa. So on that night, I'll usually make this and prep it so that when we get home, all I have to do is stick it in the oven and we have dinner relatively quickly because they like to go, we like to go to Cabela's to go visit Santa, and they like to go and look at the big fish tank because they have one of those near us, and like sit on all of the ATVs and stuff like that. So we end up staying there for quite a while. Oops, did I drop that? No. So we end up staying there for quite a while, and if I waited till I got home to make dinner, we would not be eating until like 9 o'clock at night. So this is a very good meal to make on a night like that. And like I said, it's a nice little comfort food. Okay. So here we go. And you can always spread this stuff out with a spatula. Honestly, I just find this method works best because then you're not smushing the mashed potatoes into the mixture. You're kind of just like resting it on top. So I'm like really gently just kind of resting these potatoes on top of the meat mixture, and you'll be able to tell as you're putting it in if it's like mashing into it. But anyways, this is what I've got. Let me go clean my hands. All right, and then we're gonna put the cheese on top. And I still have some mashed potatoes left over in here. And now I'm just gonna top this with cheese. I've just got regular shredded cheddar. Okay. This, and you can put as little or as much as you want on here. And I suppose you could use whatever cheese you really like, but I feel like the cheddar tastes the best. But if you wanted to do like a blend of, I don't know, like Monterey Jack, or, I mean, I guess, I don't think mozzarella would be that great. You want something that's a little sharp. Sharp white cheddar, any of that would be good. So, we got our cheese on there, potatoes in there, and I'm just gonna cover this and put it in the oven, and when it's ready to go, all we gotta do is bake it. So that's it. Hopefully I can get a picture of the finished product when I get back, but my chances are it's gonna be dug into, so we'll see. But if you do try this, I hope you like it, and you gotta let me know how it tastes. Well, Mike dug into it, but this is what it looks like. The cheese crust is kind of like nice and crispy. You've got your layers. It's gonna be so delicious.